Good day, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good. And today we're going to be talking about Masters of the Universe. Well, at least I will be talking about it. And really, what this show is about is kind of a critique on modern civilization. In that, in this show, we see that, and we'll get into the show later, more details into what the show is about. But this is basically what the show is a critique on modern life. And what I mean by this is that when you see this at the beginning, not giving away too much here, but we see that magic in Eternia disappears and it goes away, and that a lot of people at this time, because there's no magic, and I guess their whole planet is based upon magic in order for it to survive, and if Eternia goes away, the whole universe goes away. And so, what you see is these people go away from the magic, especially Teela. She doesn't trust magic. And then they turn more to technology. But as they do this, go to technology, you got your extremes. And where you see Triclops, he forms his own little cult, and he starts to turn people into half technology, and half human or whatever species they are. And then you see, for example, Teela, who no longer really cares about magic. She doesn't trust magic anymore because of certain circumstances, which we'll hit on later on. She talks about how to solely trust in technology and stuff like this. And we see this in our lives today. And that as we move away from religion and people put their faith more into technology and science, just like in the show, there's something that they feel like they're missing. They're not achieving their full happiness because they're moving away from religion, from the spirit, from God, and just like how in the show, because there's no magic, they're having hard times. A little different because in the show, because there's no magic, they can't plant crops. And nobody's truly really happy, and you have some people searching for the magic, and that's how you can see this in our life as well, that even though we don't need religion to grow crops and stuff, we still need that influence of religion, of God, in order for us to have this true happiness and to be fulfilled, something like we see in Masters of the Universe. All right, now let's get into, and that's my point of view of what this show is really about. And just like how Teela, she starts to search for magic, and in the end, she starts to become more fulfilled. We can see that in our lives today. So let's get into Masters of the Universe and what I think about it. First off, I think if you are a fan of the original Master Universe or of the 2002 He-Man and Masters in the Universe, you will want to watch the first 20 minutes of the first episode. Stop when He-Man looks like He-Man defeats Skeletor, and then because that's the closest you're going to get to the classic He-Man and of the 2002 version of He-Man. After that, it really feels like you got these characters, and they look like, somewhat look like the characters that we remember. I say somewhat because they completely changed Teela after the first episode, but they're acting totally different, and they're not moving like you. They're not moving or interacting like you're used to, especially if you've recently watched those, or if you remember them very well. And it just looks like they're just, they got the names, they sort of look like the characters, but they're totally different people. And this really is true with Teela, especially on her reaction to, I guess we're just going to say, this does have spoilers, I guess, but I won't do any major spoilers for you. Especially when her reaction to, I don't think this much of a spoiler because Kevin Smith already kind of told us this was going to happen. Her reaction when she finds out who He-Man really is, it just how she reacts to this doesn't really seem like the Teela that we know from the from the 1983 version, from the original version, which this is supposed to be a sequel from. So we'll just ignore stuff from the 2002. Though there's a mixture of a little bit of everything in this series. She just wouldn't react that way, and she really looks in this really selfish and inward to herself. The Teela we know from the previous is like she's a caring person. She's strong, she's tough, but she's also a caring person. And the way that she would react to Prince Adam's family and even to Man at Arms after she found out the truth doesn't really seem that's the way that she would react if this was a direct continuation of the original He-Man. Also, the way they did the King, I can't remember the King's name, is like an abomination. There's no way, I mean, I don't think there's any way he would act the way he did. I mean, cause so he bans the Man of Arms after, because Man of Arms knows the secret and he never did tell him. But what's he going to do? Is he going to divorce the Queen? Because it's obvious that she knew that He-Man was Prince Adam. So I don't know. So he's going to fire the guy, the Man of Arms, but you know, your wife, who's right there, who has the most direct communication with you, knows it too, and she didn't tell you. What are you going to do with her? I mean, you can't. Is he going to act the same way with her? We don't really get that interaction because they're basically in this show for about maybe 2 minutes at the most. Well, yeah, about 2 minutes at the most. And after the first episode, you don't see the King and the Queen anymore. So we don't even know what they're doing or what they're trying to do to help Eternia during this time where the planet is dying, or they're just sitting on their throne, having a merry old time. So there's stuff like that, especially that part, you know, because the King and the Queen, they would always help people out, and during this time, there's no mention of them when the planet is basically decaying. And then I don't understand why Hollywood wants to promote women, you know, making them these heroes and stuff, but then they turn them into like men, basically. So basically, I mean, Teela in this after the first episode looks very masculine. She's a woman, but she looks masculine. So the communication here is kind of conflicting. You're like saying that women can be strong and independent and do all these incredible things as long as they look like a man. It just doesn't really fit into what the message they're trying to say. If you go back to like the original He-Man, or even the 2002, the remake 2002 version of Teela, she's still able to kick butt, and she's very active and able to hold her own. But she also has those feminine qualities with her as well. Personally, my favorite version of Teela and all this is probably the 2002 remake. And that one, you can kind of see a little bit of her being like she is in this version of her, especially when she interacts with Adam, because she's always criticizing Adam for being, you know, not taking his training seriously and stuff. But she would never quit like she did on this one and be so inward on here. And it doesn't really make sense because when she sees Adam again, you know, it's been, I don't know, it seems like there's been months at least, maybe even years since the time that, you know, He-Man disappears, and then she sees him again, and then she still hasn't, she still has that hatred towards him because he didn't tell him the secret. So I think they completely ruined her character. They made the best character they probably did good with was probably Evil Lynn. She's probably the one that's the most consistent if you go through all the original 2002 version and then this. She's probably the most consistent character. There are some tweaks, but she's always been that character. Especially we saw this in the remake, where she has the potential to be a good sorceress. But however, she's always sided with who she thinks has the better chance of winning, which for some reason she thinks Skeletor has the best chance of winning, after, which is kind of hard to believe because if you're really going by the book here, Skeletor's lost like every battle, but she still sides with him on this. So the show really fails. I mean, it's supposed to be promoting Teela, but it really fails, and her character doesn't really improve her. At times it makes her unlikable, and at times it doesn't. But they did a good job with Prince Adam, though he looks kind of wimpy, really wimpy. Like he looks like the girl, and Teela looks like a guy when you look at their animation. He's shorter than her, he's smaller than her, and everything. While Teela's like this tall and really buffed. I don't know. It's just crazy how they did that. See what else to say. And then, so there has been some rumors about Teela being gay or a lesbian in this, which, if these people were really fans of the show, they wouldn't have hinted or put subtle hints in like that in this. And I don't think it's as overblown as people think. Yeah, there's some glances, and she does say something. She only says really one line that really hints that maybe they are a couple. But if that is the direction they're going, you can really tell these people weren't really fans of He-Man. Just because there's more lore and canon that Teela and Prince Adam do get together. I mean, they even have a son in the canon versions of this, and then so to go off that way doesn't make much sense. Personally, I didn't really mind that they didn't go with that in the first 5 episodes there wasn't a lot of He-Man, because I see what they were trying to do was focus on, while the story was about getting the magic back and maybe getting He-Man back. So the story was about He-Man without him really being in it. So I didn't really mind that part, especially knowing that it was going to be 10 episodes and like it's going to split in 5s and 5s. Now that I will be getting the heavy spoilers on this part, so from here on out. So if you don't want to hear more spoilers, I'll turn off here. So like I said, I didn't really mind that being much He-Man in the first 5, because I had the idea that maybe in the second 5 episodes we would get like all the He-Man we could handle and more. However, how they ended this with Prince Adam getting stabbed again right before he turned into He-Man, and he's basically either dead or dying at the end of the episode 5, it's kind of clear that we're not going to get to see all the He-Man that we've been wanting to see since at least 2002. I mean, we've been waiting 19 years at this, and then we never really get to see the He-Man that we've been wanting to see. And even if they do bring He-Man back, I don't see how they could bring him back until like the very end. So we're probably only going to get like maybe 10 or 15 minutes of the He-Man that we'd like and wanted to see when this was being made. So I don't think that this, they say it was made for the fans of the original one. It doesn't look like it was made for the fans of the original one, because we wanted to see He-Man. We got 5 or 10 minutes of He-Man in the first episode, and then we get to see like flashbacks of him walking around and talking to Teela about stuff, but we never get to see him. And now how it ended, the next 5 episodes we're not going to get to see He-Man either. So I don't know what they were thinking when they did this. It's very disappointing, to be honest. So I don't know, when Netflix gives me their little email, they give you an email, did you enjoy this show? I'll probably give it a thumbs down. Definitely didn't like the direction they went with this show. And if I watched episodes 6 through 10, I'm on the fence on that one. I don't know. I don't like really starting something and not finishing it. So if I do watch it, it'll be just so I can finish and see what they did with it. But I'm not really hyped about seeing the last 5 episodes like I was when I first heard this announced. So that's basically my thoughts. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Did you like it? Did you like this version? I really don't think they did any character any justice. They probably ruined about every character. Mark Hamill's version of Skeletor was just like watching a Joker being doing the voice of Skeletor. You know, you use that same voice. Um, yeah, so that's about. I think that's about all I was wanting to cover in this. I hope you all have a great day. Like I said, if you liked it, leave a comment. If you didn't like it, leave a comment. Hit the thumbs up. And I hope you enjoy this and have a great day. Bye.